You said a baby bouncer.
Baby bounce. It's a bouncing baby bounce.
Bouncing baby bouncer. Was that the helium light too? Is that float?
Yeah.
No, the one over there, the balloon. I've seen those, man, the helium
See,
lights.
I don't love these ones because you have to. This takes time to assemble.
No, it doesn't.
I like the ones that you just push down and then you're done.
All right, we're gonna start lesson number 1. Here's this really fancy cool thing.
What is it for? What is this for?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows what this is for?
Lighting.
Good, you win. You get a prize.
Soft.
So we're doing prizes today.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready? There you go. So if you
you
get
caught
the answer
The
right.
second one of these I have.
Really? You got another one?
Yeah.
From
Well,
the
that is you can use 2 hands.
You understand? Autograph.
All right, so we call these China balls. Okay.
China balls?
China balls. Super easy, and to set it up, you push down, you go like that, and it goes right in the bag. So to open it up, you push down, and there's a little hook in there, and you gotta get both of them.
And it's great after a long day of set if you're sweaty. If you
Yeah,
miss
you lean
the
over
hook,
like that.
it kind of puffs you with air. Feels really nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah, these are nice. Like
Right.
the old types that like 10 years ago, you had to assemble
each run had to be put in individually.
But now these are so great.
Yeah.
And then the nice thing about this light is it's not a harsh light. It's soft.
Mm-hmm.
It's soft, so like there's not hard shadows.
Right. All right, everybody ready? We got.
Yep, go.
It's 11:05.
Jump.
That's my start time.
Jump.
All right. I know a lot of you here. My name is Scott Morrison. Company's Discovery Photo. I am a full-time photographer and a part-time gaffer and cinematographer. Who are you?
My name is Scott Brosius. I am a project manager by day, but sometimes I manage film sets. As a director, producer, cinematographer, editor.
Actor?
Occasionally I act. I'm not an actor.
I have
That is a profession.
I have proof. All right, so we're going to go through a couple slides here. That's me. So I've been doing this since 1991.
2 years ago.
That was my first headshot officially. I didn't even take it. How do you like that? I've won tons of awards for all the cool things, Emmys and things. When you win Emmys, you get friends. I do a lot with lighting, and but in my day job, I'm a photographer. And we get to do all kinds of fun things. I do a lot of family photos, we do school photos, sports, and yeah, I get to do all kinds of fun things. Put me in. I'm the official photographer for the Emmy Awards that were held last night, and that was the first one I've missed in 10 years. But if you ever see a picture of an Emmy Award, I took it. I have the official picture for the Emmy Awards. We did that about 2 years ago. So whenever you see it printed anywhere in the world, it's my photo. So we get to stand on ladders, lay down on cemeteries, whatever it takes to get the shot.
He's killing it.
Yeah, look at this. And, you know, in my day job, a 7'8" Wookiee in my studio. Whether it's raining or not, we're out there. Whether you go on helicopters, there's my guard dog down there. I don't know if you can see him. He's guarding my equipment while we do photos. Doesn't matter what the weather is, we go out, there's a frozen, it's like -10 degrees, and we're still doing engagement shoots. I am on IMDb. I got about 125 different credits on IMDb, from anywhere from cinematography to that.
I see actor there too,
I
though.
think that was the last time I checked.
No way.
Really?
He's like 200.
Okay, I have like 200. I'm also a Jedi, so if anybody, so don't mess with me. My pictures have appeared on magazine covers throughout the world, including French Vogue, but I am a badass too.
You got arrested?
Yeah, I got
That was
arrested.
one of my sets.
Yeah,
If she were the cop, I'd want to be arrested.
she put me in handcuffs and threw me in the back seat. I couldn't have been happier. Yeah. What I'm really known for is my landscape photography, mainly dealing with moving water, which is what I really love to do. You know, just I love that effect. I've traveled to 47 states, and still missing Hawaii, and I can't convince my wife to go there. Weekends we crash parties, so we do weddings. That's my daughter, by the way. That was her one.
There's really nothing to photograph them all. So,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
Really?
It's kind of
That's what I heard.
There's no moving
But,
water at all there.
Nothing on there.
Yeah, I still gotta go make it to Louisiana too.
Yeah.
So when you do weddings, the next thing you gotta do is maternity photos. So we do those, and then what's the next thing? Baby photos. You get to do those. But I like to do something fun and different. We do business headshots and actors headshots.
That's
Yeah.
a real twinkle.
Wow.
Look at that. Now that's the man right there.
It's a real twinkle.
Get to do some boudoir, fun, sexy pictures. Let's see what else. Fashion, fantasy. So this is one we did a couple of years ago, where we came up with a prosthetic tail and had a model for it. This is for a music video we did. We did this. This was a collaboration with actors and costume designers, hair people, makeup people, and this is Mansfield Reformatory. Everybody knows this guy, Johnny Woo. He did a movie a couple of years
He's
ago.
wearing a China hat.
The Genie, yeah. I'm a Genie. That's also some modeling stuff that we did at Mansfield Reformatory.
Pirate.
Pirate. We do pictures of pirates. He's a pirate.
Yep.
I'm a Right. Some lighting setups. I usually like to do for like headshots and stuff. I use a 4-light setup. Even in the hot tub, there's actually 7 lights here. I had 2 under the water. You just take a flash and put it in a plastic bag, seal it up, turn it on, and had some really cool things. Just various lighting setups. This was kind of a BTS from the Mermaid shoot. This is a shoot we did with him, and we ended up turning it into the poster. So like I said, we have quite a few movies under the belt here. So let's talk a little bit about lighting. This was a movie we did several years ago. It was called Philip Ratchet. And so for this, looks pretty simple, but actually there's like probably 5 or 6 lights going on to make it look interesting. We had the light from the side over here filling in. Gosh, I should have a laser pointer. Well, we have what's called Rembrandt lighting. So you get that little triangle over there, a little bit of key light on the back, on the hair. We had, we didn't want the backgrounds to go black, so we added little things like a candle in the back, just so it added some interest to it. It's not just a
And depth.
right.
Yeah.
So it shows shape with a little bit of light on the hair. Good, you get good separation. Oh, glasses back.
Nice and stark.
Here's another one we did. We were sacrificing a virgin in the woods. So of course you have to light it properly.
She was a PA, so
Yeah.
it didn't matter.
Yeah, whenever you have candles and stuff, you have to balance your light because you want to be able to see the candles. Your light is too bright, the candles just totally disappear. So you have to adjust the lighting for the candles first because you can't make a candle lighter or darker.
And look at this, so what color temperature do we have here versus the background?
Correct. It's night. So if we didn't have 2 blue lights in the background, it just goes totally black. You don't know you're in the woods or anything. You add that slight blue hue, and all of a sudden, oh, you're in the woods. It's night. It's you have a full moon. Your imagination go wild. So whenever I do night outside, we try to illuminate some of the trees with something. This was more blue. We wanted a little more color, a little more of a punch, but you could unsaturate that quite a bit. Again, candlelight. You have to expose for the candles because you can't make candles lighter or darker. You expose for the candles and then you fill in with any kind of fill light that you may need.
But even this one, look at the background, you did a different color.
Correct. So we used a splash of light on the background there, just to give it more texture and more of a realistic look. Then that background did not go black.
Martin?
Hey Scott, can you go back a couple pictures? The one in the woods? Yeah. So my question here is that then you have to think about, they're very well lit, but where's the light coming from if they're out in the middle of the woods?
Correct. Right.
You have to think about that, right?
Yep, you do. Position, how were they lit? Well, you got to use your imagination. So we used like a 3-foot china ball that was elevated in a tree up above them.
Okay.
To kind
Above,
of give
behind?
above in front,
Okay.
so that we could illuminate them. If it's behind, then they're backlit. So
your light's coming basically from the moonlight, like moonlight.
correct. We are trying to simulate moonlight.
Right.
So that was elevated. I mean, put it over a tree limb, and we had a big LED light. And just put that over there. And it's actually kind of dim. It's not really that bright, but because we had to balance out the candlelight right there.
Right.
And they're holding candles, and then she has what she was going to kill her with was that the dagger kind of lit up a little bit too. So we wanted to make sure we saw that.
I like the blue trees, but then we're also, that light also has to be coming from the same source. It would be the same movement.
It would be, but it's more of a reflective light.
But keep this in mind too, like, and there's two philosophies of filmmaking. There's one, trying to capture exactly the way things are, exactly as they are. And then maybe just giving light to enhance it. And then there's also accepting this is a film, this is pretend, this is artificial, and how do we create something that gives it energy and style? Blue is a cool color. Blue makes you think of night. So like, it really accentuates this is a nighttime shot.
So you just, so in that regard, and depending on your subject matter, you bend the logic a little bit.
Absolutely. You
Oh,
always
for sure.
do. If you're looking at a hallway, someone's walking down the hallway, you see that green light in the background. In real life, do you ever see that green light?
There's never a little green light in my house.
Right.
Yeah.
But every time someone's walking down the hallway,
Sure,
you'll
sure.
see that. That'll give separation. It'll show how long that hallway is. It'll give you some sort of depth.
Sure.
And that's why they look
and
like
even meaning. I mean, you're telling a story with lighting as well, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So whatever the subject matter is, where the story is flowing, that adds to that flavor as well.
Right.
Well, so to me, I see back here, we have this exit sign. So maybe in a movie, what we would do is I would say, let's give it a little bit more, because that's not a really bright red light, but now in a movie, maybe we can give it a little bit more red, and then make that pop. Maybe you do half a shadow of red.
Have a red splash on the back.
Right, or that's your source if somebody's got red, one of your actors has red.
And you've established now that color, so now you could say, if even a person's across the room here, you can give him a little red fill on his side, even though there's no way that's gonna, it would.
Right.
Sure. But, so in that regard, then you have to make sure that in some previous shot that you've seen that exit.
But
sign.
that's real, but that's trying to achieve realism versus in this room, just a random pink light in the corner, a random green light over here. Why is this there? Because we're making a movie. We want to make it fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to make it fun, or sometimes you want to make it realistic. It's just
Stylized, pretty.
right.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, next. There we go. So this was filmed.
Once again, right?
Yeah. So this is House of Wills. Again, we used candlelight. I guess there was a lot of candlelight in these. So we have to balance for the candlelight, and then we filled in.
That's great.
So that's more monster lighting.
Yeah.
It's low and looking up at him to give him that evil
But
look.
look at you get some beautiful shadow work here with this. You have a blue shadow and a pink shadow. So
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the background and all that, that's great. That's well balanced. So.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, is everybody from Cleveland here?
yeah.
Yeah, so a place called House of Wills. It is a super creepy haunted house. It's run by a guy that is the head of the Church of Satan. So,
Really nice guy.
Oh, him, yeah.
So he's a really nice guy, but
Maybe don't go there when it's 105 degrees outside.
correct. There is no air conditioning, and at that time there was no power. So anything we brought, yeah, and no potties either.
Yeah.
Right. But it was really cool. It was an old funeral parlor. So he bought it and
So
is
House of Wills is
restoring
a
it.
place. not
Like
a movie.
it's a place. It's
It's
like
a place.
18 It's like 1800s funeral parlor, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So then we have available light.
Forgot about
So when we're shooting this was Bullets, Brothers, and Blood. So this was these are all the thugs, and they're in this an alleyway, and it's all available light. Just sometimes you just get lucky. Available light's beautiful. I love to use it when I can. More available light coming in there. Yeah, a little bit of things in the foreground, and there it is.
Now, does direct hard sunlight piss you off?
100%.
Sounds
There's nothing worse in the world.
Right.
Right, than that. So if I have to shoot, and they says, oh yeah, we got the sun, we'll light them. And then everybody's like, their eyes are closed, they can't look into it, and they're all squinty.
And dynamic range.
Right, you guys, yes,
What's dynamic range?
yes.
Yeah, so like even for photography or videography, you know, you have like, this is a great example of DR, dynamic. You have dark shadow, bright face. So like,
Okay,
you
the
know,
range of dark
and
to
so
light.
like humans, we wouldn't have seen it this way. We would have seen this side of his face and his ear much more clearly. But
Right.
cameras have a limitation. Even the best cameras, they don't see the way we do. So like that's like when you're looking at someone on a couch and then the window's behind them. Why can you see outside clearly and his face smiling at you? But when you get your camera, you either have a really, really bright outside or you exposed to that and then you have like just a black person
Yeah.
on a couch. So like that's dynamic range and understanding your camera and what settings to get ideal DR, it becomes tough. Like these shoulders, that's almost blown out.
Yep.
There's no detail there, but he was lucky enough to have good detail in the face, so it just worked out.
Right, and it's good shape of light. The light
Yep.
out of the source is coming
Beautiful.
from that side.
Beautiful.
It's coming from there, and then
And nice framing composition.
Great, and then, you know, it's through the leaf, so we have that little bit of blur in the front. So,
Yeah, it was beautiful.
what do we got next? Same thing, but this is more, this is controlled light. So this was in a studio, and of course, if you look in the back, see that, all that pink light? It was boring in there. So
Yeah.
we added a bright pink light.
Well, it was so dark. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
even really see something. Like, well, we got to get this a little something.
Right, so that's what we did. We said, what color? He says, I don't know. See, he looks kind of blown out on his face, actually. In real life, it was actually much better. But again, this is all created light.
Yeah.
You know, we have light there, we have light behind him to give him separation through the old car.
But it's stylized. Like in this film, it was one of my films we did. You know, we wanted to have a more stylized look. We wanted to have a more artificial feel. So like we weren't trying to go for accurate in reality.
Oh, it's a bumpy.
Just be careful when you go around.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. What's your dog's name?
This is Sergeant Alice Cooper.
Ooh. All right, let's move on. What's that?
Some homeless guy.
Some homeless guy trying to rob a camera or something.
This is the first film I ever worked on with Scott. That's how long ago, it was like 10 years ago. That was the very first file. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's many looks. This is also Vile. This is Scott as an actor. How far did you run?
It was over a half a mile.
And how many times did you do it?
3 times.
Right.
And like running at full pace with a heavy bag and running with engine every time.
So I was the cinematographer, and I was in a golf cart. The golf cart was going absolutely full speed, and he was holding that, keeping up with us. And he said, "Let me do this again." And I'm like, "Dude, are you kidding?" And he's like, "No, let me do it again."
That's a good enough shot, I think.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna make that third one work.
So the many looks of Scott Brosius. So, you know, you go from the big beard, you go from the cool, suave look, and there he is, the military look, all different kinds of styles. So this is a film we did with Johnny Woo. And during that time, it was COVID, so we all wear masks. Everybody on set, it was the COVID time. And it was in the summer.
I remember the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a winter scene in summer, so we had to create snow. So we had these snow machines.
That worked though.
Bubbles.
Right, it was really bubbles, and it looked really cool. It was fun to play in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
But we had like 4 of these things that were shooting in the air to show that. Scott, what's going on here? Can you explain this for us?
So this is an actor, the Southern actors. I'm very kind to them. It's a ball game. He has rubber gloves on. It's a perfectly normal thing to do. So yeah, we were just making a movie where we have a guy doing DIY electrotherapy treatment, and
And he's strapped down.
it's a perfectly normal thing to do.
Yes.
Just give your good friend a ball game.
I thought he was at a dentist's office.
Yes. And again, we do whatever it takes to get the shot. Were you here for Wulin?
I know, I had COVID at the time.
Oh.
I was home for 3 weeks. with
So
COVID.
this is an old train station.
Flying
Had no
drone.
roof, it had caught fire and had no roof, and we were filming in there. That was
Like you said,
kind
fire
of
again.
a crazy, freezing cold, it was in the middle of winter,
Yep.
and wet. He treats his actresses well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of fake blood.
All right.
That's a great show.
Yeah, it gets better. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about lighting. So we're going to go into some lights. Anybody here a gaffer or that uses lighting? And there we go. All right, so if you're old like I am, this is what you started with. This was 15 years ago, the absolute state of the art. This is an RE650. Everybody had one. It has, sorry about that, Scott. Striking. All right, so what we have is basically, it's a light that has one color temperature, which is 3200 Kelvin. You can change the focus just a little bit. You can go to wide or just in
Letter spot.
and then you can use just the barn doors to kind of just, control the light a little bit. There's no dimmer, no nothing on these. If you wanted to dim it, you have what are called scrims that you slide in here, and they're like screens, and you would dim it down a little bit. If you wanted to say, all right, this is like tungsten. It's a tungsten bulb. It's balanced for what's in here. If you look at these, for me, I see everything is orange. All right, I'm weird. So to change it, you have to put a gel over it, and you just use these little clips here. What do you call these things? With the gaffer, what do you call them? Yeah, that's right. If you call them that, you pay $1 each for them. If you call them clips, just clothespins, they're about $1 for 100 of them. So here we go. We changed the color temperature.
I think you lost the glow.
Did it pop?
No. We lost power on this. I think I blew the circuit. That's the other
It
thing.
uses a lot of power.
Right, they take a lot of power.
Good luck with whole panel work. Scott, is that a 650 or a 1K?
This is a 650. So,
But I want to say, even though this is like older technology, I
Oh,
wouldn't
it
say
is.
it's antiquated. There's one value of this than over a lot of LEDs. Like recently I shot a film and, guy had a flashlight, the LED, and it was flickering. So like a lot of the LEDs, the frequency of it is very close to shutter speed and your shutter angle, and
Yeah.
you'll get stroby, flickery stuff, and it's ugly. These old tungsten bulbs, you don't get any of that. It's just a beautiful light.
right. Even, very even.
Yeah, no matter if you're doing slow motion, whatever shutter speed, it's just gonna look good. So these still have a value depending on what you're shooting.
And I still use them. I have a full set of REs, and they're like a $3,000 set. That's still like an $800 one.
Yeah.
So the other thing, since then, we've moved to LED panels.
See, I'm gonna move over here when it says striking.
Striking. All right, so we're gonna turn that on, and that's pretty bright, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is 650 watts. This is only 75 watts, and that's the kind of light you get out of it.
But can we make a point about this light that's in front, like that shadow that it's casting? Even with this.
So we can make it even lighter. But
But I like how soft the shadow is. It's not a hard shadow because of this panel.
correct. And if you want to make it softer, I always have diffusion, and we can put it there and put a layer of diffusion on here.
And that shadow all starts becoming just a blur.
Right. So as opposed to that and that. It cuts about half the light. This is a one-stop piece of diffusion, but makes everything softer, prettier. I usually like to use those. This has diffusion built in. But a really good thing about these LED panels is that first off, they're battery powered.
Mm-hmm.
You can put a battery on there, you can be on location, you can be in the woods. You don't need to rely on power. So, also the other cool thing is, there's a phone app for it. So I can go in here, hit the GVM, that's the brand this is.
Oh, shut the front door. You got a phone app for your light?
Got a phone app for my lamp. And just connect, and there we go. So now, let's look over here. So this is what's called an RGB light. So not only does it'll do, that's 5600K, it'll go right over to 3200K.
So you, and I just want to clarify this,
Yeah.
because you mentioned tungsten when you were talking about the other light.
Yes,
And you take it from tungsten to daylight, but you didn't compare, so 3200 degrees is tungsten.
correct. That's what we have, all these lights in there.
5600 degrees is daylight.
And it's not 3200 degrees, it's like 32 Kelvin, that's.
No,
usually-
yeah.
And that's usually the scale they'll say.
So what we're gonna do is I just have this little app here and I can just turn this dial and it goes right to, you see how it's a bluer tint? Bluer.
You bring the Kelvin up.
Right,
Wow.
and you can go in the middle, go lower, there. I could also, oh, that's way too bright, let's dim this down. So we can
And,
go up,
and
down.
like GVM, like this is a pretty good brand. You generally don't have any like the flicker that I was talking about.
Correct.
With shutter speed stuff.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't know the question.
No, that's good, keep going.
So, with your dimmer, with a tungsten light, when you bring when you dim a tungsten light, you're also bringing, accidentally bring
You
the color
change,
temperature.
you do
down.
change the color temperature.
So
to
when you
about
dial
28.
when you dim it down on this, does it change the color temperature as well?
Zero, no,
Ah.
it's what's called a 97 it's a
CMI.
97, right, it's rated very high. So you want something in the high 90s.
Yeah.
The better lights are, 97, 98. This is a 97.
It's not as big of a deal now. Like 10 years ago, like you really had to be careful. But now, like you can get a fairly inexpensive light that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
This is about $500 right here.
Right.
So, but another cool thing is, I don't need gels anymore. I just hit another button. It's purple.
Does this do effects too?
Yeah, it does, so we can do green, any color you want, 128 different colors.
Wow.
I could do within the color wheel. I want it less saturated, just a little bit of green in the background.
But this is so much better than fiddling around with knobs and buttons.
Right, just, it's an app. So you could use that. They also have scene selection. So if I wanted to simulate a police cruiser outside, you just have this,
Wow.
Great.
on the wall, or, facing the wind, it goes, the cops, jinkies, it's the cops. They pull up. It's really just a button. Some other things, there's, pulsating light, so if you want something pulsating in the background. These are all presets, you can change them around. There's explosions or something, I don't know.
TV is a good one I've done before.
Yeah, so TV we
Or
use.
fire.
And fire. So this is like, you would have this facing people as, from behind a TV, so you can see, so you don't have to have a real TV on. And it's just, it just changes. Let's see, let's go to fire. Here's a candle. So it kind of like gives it a little flicker.
Yeah.
And of course, this is really bright. You would have this, very subtle on
And
someone's
probably-
face in the background.
And probably more dialed in too.
Yeah. Yeah. Lightning, you want to have lightning in the background. And these are all, you can change the speed, make them faster, make them slower. Here's a fire truck that I just read. All kinds of fun things, but, 90% of the time, I do it, like this. And again, goes up, goes down. All right, so let's turn this one off. Got one more over here, which is, let's see, the newest and latest technology. This is called a Cobb light. This is 300 watts. Boom. All right, so that's at 100%, 300 watts. Also, the same thing, I have an app for it. So while this is 10 feet in the air, I can connect. And there we go. We can dim it down again, bring it up. And
Does
so,
this do VMOT too, or
what?
does this do VMOT?
Yeah, so this one, so that's battery powered. This could also be battery powered with either a V-mount or some other thing that we plug right into this. And so you could be on a remote location with this. This also does whatever color you want. Does the scenes. That's the party scene.
So Scott, what's the benefit of using one light or the other?
I want you to look at this camera right here. So look at this shadow, and look at even my shadow that's casting. Now, what do you notice different about this shadow versus the panel light?
It's harder.
It's harder.
Right.
So this is like what I would call like a monolight, because it really is a very focused center light versus such a wider light, because
Right.
each of these are individual lights.
Right.
So because of that, you have so many lights, you're not going to get a perfect, nice, like 1940s detective movie, like hard shadow.
Right, so this is one giant LED in here. Right there. And where this is, I think it's 132
Multiple.
dot LEDs with the diffusion panel, and I usually put additional diffusion on.
Sure, so, so that separates softens the light.
Correct, so
And
you don't have
you still get intensity, but it's a softer intensity.
Correct, you lose about a stop, but you don't have those little dot patterns
Yeah.
that will reflect everywhere.
Now, another thing that like is against this is it doesn't. There's something called throw. So this doesn't have a good throw. So I can't have a light far away and then make over there brighter. Versus this has much better throw. I can have this over in the corner and we can illuminate that pretty well.
So a lot of times people will use these as like a bounce light. So you put it up in the corner, you go straight up,
Because now
and
with my
now
shadow,
we're lighting up the room.
like
So now he has no shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no shadows anywhere, as opposed to coming here and having a hard ass shadow. So people were asking the other day at one of the actors things, says, every time I do an audition tape, I got this giant shadow behind me. What do I do? How can I help that? Well, you could do two things.
the party light on.
Good, we could do that. You could bounce the light and just use it from above and filling like that.
Because most ceilings are white. So if you're bouncing a light, whatever temperature your light is, you're probably going to have somewhere close to that.
Right.
And for an audition tape, the color temperature isn't a huge thing.
It's not a huge deal, but like,
Yeah.
but if you're having bad shadows on your face, like it is distracting.
Sure,
Yeah.
As
I
a
mean, if
director.
you're using an iPhone, it's automatic. It'll
Right.
it'll look at it and say, oh, that's 3200,
Yeah.
3700, whatever it may be. Because if you have, window light coming in, you have
Yeah.
tungsten, it's going to be what's called mixed light. So,
Not ideal.
right. So another good thing about these are it has a Bowen mount, which is pretty much the standard mount. So you can take this off.
Is it primarily like a photographer's mount or a?
No,
or
a lighting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bowen is actually, it used to be. So you put this really cool thing on here. Okay, there you go. So I want to spot.
Do a shadow.
So now here,
Like so. Aim it at me now.
it's bright. You sure?
Yep. I'm gonna look off.
So look at that super hard, heavy shadow behind him.
And if you look at my face, like I'm doing kind of an angle, like now I have like a really like severe shadow on one side, and then
It's
one
like
side
a
is
line, a
blank.
hard line.
So like if that's the look you're going for, this is the kind of the setup that you need.
Right.
Like you'll never be able to get this with a panel.
Right.
Never.
So and it's small and it's focusable.
But this is really nice too. If you look at this light, he can like edge to edge, it's the same brightness.
Yeah.
So that's also a measure of the quality of like this Bowen adapter of what you're going to be able to get, because you wouldn't want it to be brighter on the edges and then dimmer in the middle, or vice versa. But he also is able to change and feather the edges, so it could be more of a vignette, it could be softer.
Okay, this is actually really close. If we're doing like the back wall. So another cool thing that this has.
Yeah, this is special. This is super fancy.
So you can put what they call a crystal. They used to be crystals. So here, I'm going to throw it back over here. So we could, so you can add texture to your wall.
And notice this has focus, so like he can choose it to be blurry, he can choose it to be direct.
Right. And just, if there's trees coming in, lighting, and, if I want to make it cooler, we can come through and go into the settings here. Oh, I turned it off. Sorry, disconnected. Let me repeat that. change the mode.
Oh, now he's doing like different colors.
Right, so, change the colors on it.
And like, how would you use this in maybe like a house? I mean, you could do it to make it seem like someone's like looking through like a fern that's like in the corner, or,
Yeah, just
All
so
kinds of
it's not
things.
just a bright white wall behind you.
Mhm.
Now you have
Texture's
something
good.
to break it up. All right, now we got the end. All right, let me do this again. Let me.
See, he has all the good choices.
All right, we're gonna close. Let's open up that app again. And connect.
So you come in.
Thanks. Sorry.
Just watch the cord.
Watch your step around the corner.
Sorry about
Okay, so we're gonna connect. And change
that.
lighting.
No, you're good. We'll move it, I promise.
Whatever, but you can change, and I have a ton of different, so that's kind of like, I think it came with 20
Yeah,
different
so like a
shapes.
really good one is like the Venetian blind one that you see so often in like the detective noir films. You have one of those?
Yeah. So these are just basically little aluminum things that go in.
Yeah, shine a light on me.
We're gonna slide them in, then you can rotate it. I need another hand, please.
You don't have 3 hands?
No.
There's an app for that.
That's what a grip is. Grip helps you grip.
Give him a hand.
Hey, there we go. So again, as it gets closer, you want to focus it, give them that,
Where's the girl?
Marlowe, yeah.
I don't know nothing about no girl.
So, and then there's a whole bunch of different ones, so if you want to do it like on the back wall, sorry if I'm going to point this at you, but, you can get that, the look, the farther you get, the wider it gets, and, you can put it over here if you want. But it's kind of a cool toy that helps. I've used this all the time in photography. And then if you want to face it another way, and if you want, here's, so let's pull the crystal out. And then this also has barn doors like this too. So you can push these sides in and do any shape you want. Long, straight. Kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna turn this off real quick and show you another. So we were showing the shadows. I have built in, this is a diffuser right here, so it makes it a little softer. That comes off. But if you want it even softer, you put the China ball up here. And again, bow and mount, which is kind of a universal. You can put, the umbrellas up here, whatever you want.
For indie filmmakers, like this exact setup right here, you should have it in your arsenal. Minimum. And so like, look at my shadow now.
What shadow? I don't see a shadow.
Exactly.
So we were showing, the harsh, and this is.
But if you look at my face, like there's no like hard shadow, like even like here, because I'm getting bounce. So even now with this side, this is a bright light. I should have a dark shadow on the side of my face, but I don't. Because this is hitting there, this is hitting here. I'm getting reflection from everything.
I mean, just with this, it's like, oh wait, I don't have another light. I got a reflector. I don't need one. So that fills it in. Just as long as it's out of your shot, and you can do it from below, fill the under his chin, fill from over there. Come on in.
No, you're good. Welcome aboard. Just watch how I come up the chair. And
Oh, you're supposed to catch it. Oh, it's a credit card. I should have thought that. I don't have a business card.
oh, jump board. I'm gonna leave.
So we're going to use that, and we're going to fill. But if you want to make it dark, use the black side, and then it gives you negative.
Oh, wow.
Because you see, like, what you don't realize is this light is reflecting, and then that reflection is coming back. So by doing
By
this,
bouncing it, right?
you don't realize how, like, light is doing things.
Right.
Especially when you use a China ball like this, it's going everywhere. So
Right.
if you want to control the light, that's what a gaffer is doing. A gaffer isn't just a person turning on lights. Sometimes a gaffer is a person that's removing light.
Right. Just changing, modifying.
Yep.
So our motto is you control the light, you control the world. That is absolutely true.
Yep.
So that's what this does. And again, this does all the different colors and stuff. So,
But if you could, like, to me as a filmmaker, if you could have one, if I could just have one light, I would pick this any day.
Absolutely.
Even if this wasn't color changing or RGB or have the effects, the fact that I could simply go in a room, put this light up, put it up, and then just aim it and down, now I have at least one good soft light in a room, and I don't have to worry about hard shadows, I don't have to worry about problems with dynamic range, I just simply have a soft light. And you saw how fast this was able to be set up. Pull out of the bag, push it down, lock it on.
Right.
You're up and running as an indie filmmaker in a minute. Now, like the panel light is really good, if you're doing something quick and dirty, but it's going to be a harder light. It's not going to be as soft as something like this. So it just depends on what scene you're doing.
right. So this is 300 watts. They're up to 1,200 watts. So 300 watts is pretty darn bright. I have a 600 and a 300. That's it. I just have two.
But 1200, could you run that on battery? Or is that maybe?
Not for a very short time.
Yeah, not very long. So with this, with two NP batteries, which is pretty much the standard for all these, I can get probably about 2 hours at full.
What's the wattage on that one?
This one's 75 watt. So this one's 300, and then I have a 600.
And I have a 150 that's like this, and like I can. With this, it is extremely useful because like this is a big room. We don't like with the 300. We can light this whole room for the most part. Really, this is a bright light.
Let's go back to the cone.
The cone of shame. Poor dog. Dog's thinking like cone of shame for me? Nope.
What's it look like, Scott, without the
There's just no control. It's
Right.
like,
Here, I'll turn it on. It's just like stand back, striking. It's just really bright.
And if you look at my shadow, it's for the most part it's a mono light. So I have for the most part a fairly tight shadow. If it's soft, it's a little feathered. But even with that, simply, this is a great light for just getting it.
Because here, if I was to really light them, I would probably do that. I would turn it around. Right.
But you see, even him moving this, it's hitting walls, it's hitting ceilings. Light is coming towards you, regardless. Like when you have something this bright.
So now, if you have a shadow anymore, he has no shadow. We're bouncing. So whether we go up, get it again. Yep. So we shoot up. No shadows. Nice, soft, natural light. So right now we are imitating the lights in the house.
Right. But even better because these lights in the house are aimed down.
Right.
And they are going to cast shadows in a way this is not going to. So in a
we
room
can
like
control
this,
it in any way.
I would if I was filming in this room, I would make these lights super dim. One, so we see that light is obviously in this room. But I would want probably a light like this or the China ball to actually give me the lighting for my scene. Because with these off, it's just ugly lighting, and we have no control. We're letting it tell the story versus us
Now we have
telling
total
the story.
control. So if you also want to add mood to this, there's
I love mood.
anybody ever use this stuff? Spray atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Really, really cool. So basically, it's just an aerosol, and
It's mineral oil.
Right.
It's basically minerals suspended in carbon dioxide.
so
So there's no smell to it.
no.
There's
But
nothing.
you can see that it reflects the light and makes everything look softer.
Yep.
Whether it's, wherever it is. So one place that, we use this all the time, like if you have a window light coming in.
Yep.
You see those beams of light coming
It
in?
looks great.
Well, you spray this and they jump out at you.
And it look at this. It's lasting.
Yeah,
It's
it
great.
lingers, right. And it makes him look softer. Look how good he looks now. I mean, he was not bad before, but now.
Now I'm handsome, Scott. Now he's
Right. It adds a little bit of softness to your look. So, and now there's, more diffusion. And just
Cool.
Yeah, and I feel like this kind of goes into, because like this is a horror film festival, I feel that this goes into every director should have a can of this, and every director should have a can of fake blood. Like these should be in the same container, because you never know if your makeup artist maybe isn't going to show up. You know, so, you know, just having something like this is not only good for, you know, a gaffer or a DP, this could be good special effect, this could be good for anything. Phenomenal stuff. And it's like cheap, like
Yeah.
$5 a can.
I don't think it's that much. So, does everybody know what this thing is right here?
C-stand?
Yeah, C-stand, century stand, because it has hundreds of uses. It absolutely does. The biggest thing is that most people they don't know how to set these things up right. You know, they just kind of put them up. So, basic thing is, you have 3 legs. One leg is bigger, longer. That's always the leg that is going to be pointing towards your subject, all right? That's where you want it.
And why?
Why? Because I can't knock it over. This is where it wants to fall. I can't knock it over.
Because all the weight's going to be going forward.
Right.
If you had all the weight backwards this way, that would be
Oh,
a
because,
disaster.
I mean, I could pull it with one finger. This, I could put my whole body into it and I can't knock it over. Go ahead. You have a question?
No, I don't have a question.
All right. So the next thing is you have your extension arm here.
Boom.
Boom. So how do you set this up? You know, which way does it go? Well, you always want to have it so that you're tightening down. So that when you put weight on this, it's tightening it up. So it won't move. If you go the other way, it loosens. It'll loosen it. Yeah. So you go like this way, and then as you go, it loosens.
Yeah, so bring it out.
Yeah. And so just tighten it, you're going, that's the tightening way. That's the good way.
But if you spun this around,
Yeah, so now, if you put a light on that side, good. So now it loosens as it
yeah,
goes.
so tighten it up good.
Yep. And you can just pull it right down. It'll fall.
It'll fall. Like, yeah, it will hold nothing.
Right. So flip it around. So when
That's
you're doing
such
it,
a common mistake for people.
right. So as you do it, you just go the same direction, tighten it. Good. Now that won't move. That's nice and secure.
So in other words, when you say you want to use the gravity, that is the way you're doing it to constantly tighten
Exactly.
it.
Because really, right now, once you put some weight on it,
Yeah.
what it's doing, it's tightening it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So like if I keep on pulling, eventually I won't be able to because it will
It
tighten
gets
so
tighter and
much.
tighter. So it may move down a little bit, but that's all it's going to go.
Exactly.
And so where that boom is, this arm is going to go the same as that leg, straight out. Tighten it up, tighten it up. You're good to go. This is not going anywhere. And the biggest mistake most people do is the sandbag goes on the forward leg. Doesn't go on the back legs, goes on the forward leg, because that's the center of gravity is the best right there.
But I've used these for like, sometimes I've needed just a really tall camera angle. You know, like, excuse me. You can get an adapter for like this that you can put like a fluid head on, and now you have a really tall like camera. So now you can do.
Yeah, this
like,
goes to 10 feet.
Yeah, I mean like this would easily touch the ceiling.
Yeah. So another thing that you could use these for is not necessarily for lights, but there we go. I need to block light coming from, there's a light coming in from the ceiling up there. I want to block it. I want to use this to help protect and block that light right over here. Let's move this.
And he's had like you have foam core, you know, like
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
this isn't
cardboard.
necessarily the best, but, you know, foam core or flags, which is what it really is. So I don't want that light. So now,
Yeah, so that would
I'm gonna move this over. It doesn't work. It's a cheapie. But,
you know, you can let it hang down instead.
Yeah.
correct, yeah. Vertical.
Get it higher.
Rotate it.
Okay, wiggle it, just wiggle it a little bit.
So right now, that light is giving me shit right next to, so we can extend it that way, go up, and now I'm blocking that light from hitting over here. We don't have any problems. So That's why it's a C-stand, century stand, hundreds and hundreds of uses, just gotta be creative. If you wanna add a second arm to it, you can mix the arms together, extend it.
Just
and-
remember the rule.
More sandbags.
Right.
And keep it, the tightness of it.
But
And
like, like what we were struggling here, we had it up and it was flopping. It
Right.
took us maybe 20 seconds to
Oh,
say,
yeah,
okay.
just use the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Any questions on C-stands, how to set them up, how to use them? No? How about lenses? Anybody have questions about lenses? What lens to use?
Or lensing.
Lensing. Okay, let's turn this on. Here's a picture of the Cleveland sign. If you're from Cleveland, pretty iconic. This is up in the,
Yeah, what focal length do you have for this?
that's a 14 millimeter lens. I'm probably 10 feet away from that sign right now. And you see Cleveland in the background. It's kind of small, isn't it? Let's make it bigger.
Yeah,
All right.
let's make it bigger.
Let's do that. All right, so let's go to a 24 millimeter lens. And all of a sudden, the Cleveland sign is exactly the same.
But listen to that just number
So-
difference. Like, it's not much.
Right,
From what to what?
that was from 14 to 24.
So, I mean, that's a very, very small amount of just change. Like,
And-
most cameras are gonna have, like 30 or 40 millimeters range between them.
Can you move the?
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the one thing I did do is I did take a step back. I'm a little bit farther from that Cleveland sign. Okay, so let's try it again. There's a 50 millimeter.
So he stepped back, keep this in mind, he stepped back, and yet the city looks closer.
Right, the Cleveland sign is exactly the same size filling the frame, but now Cleveland is much closer. Wow, that's pretty good.
Like, that's weird to think that stepping back can help you be closer.
Yep. All right, let's go to an 85. There's 85.
Wow.
Same sign, same location. I took a couple steps back, and now look how big Cleveland is in the background there.
And it's focus, pretty good focus.
Yeah, so a good depth of field there. So we're probably shooting it up. a
But
little
it
bit.
was probably really bright outside, that's why.
It was, right. So, all right, so here we go, and now we're at 200 millimeter. I mean, this is called compression. You're compressing what the foreground and your background so that it's much bigger.
But this is the lens that does that.
It's lensing.
Right.
This is all like, so like, when I talk about lensing, I talk about a DP or even a director, when they think about what lenses they're gonna use, it's not only capturing your subject, but the background of the subject. Because like, if using this lens, like, let's pretend the Cleveland sign is the subject. Maybe you don't want the city to be the subject. You want it just to be background.
Then you go back there.
You know what I mean? So like, this is a creative decision of a director and a DP of how do we want to see the subject and how do we want to see the background. Those are both our decisions. What is behind them is as important as what's in front of it.
Well, in both those two difference between the really close and the one far away, this one is more warmth because, oh, I'm in a park, and the other one is, I'm in a city.
Right.
So
And we are miles away from the city.
Yeah.
We're not, the city's like right there.
So like, to me, the subject is the sign at a beach. But when we go to like 200, it's the subject is the sign and the city.
Right.
You know, so now, like, how does that help you tell your story?
Yeah, 'cause
You
this
know-
one tells like, almost grungy, like dirty feeling. I mean, it's a clean picture, but if I put a person in there, it almost feels industrial.
Right.
Versus the first one where it tells warmth.
But it's a
You're not at
choice.
the beach
Yeah,
anymore.
Right.
You're in the city.
Right. So it just depends, like, you know, as a DP or a director, what is the subject of this shot? You know, and that needs to be a conversation with the gaffer, with the DP, with the director. You need to understand, why are we using the lens for this shot? What is the purpose of this focal length to tell the story of this shot?
Right. And the other thing is your aperture. Everything is in focus. The buildings are in focus, and the Cleveland sign. Now, I could make either one.
about 14?
This is probably 12. I don't, but yeah, I would say. somewhere
this is
high.
high.
Right.
I mean, it's a great photo. I was just kind of curious where.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what because, you know, this is an example to show everything.
Mhm.
So, let's go to 400 millimeter. The Cleveland is still the exact same size in every one of these pictures, but now, that city is right there. It's right behind you. You are part of the city.
Now, those trees in the background are more important than the city.
Right.
To me, those trees affect the sign more than the city does. Now the city is almost becoming an afterthought. So like, is that a good creative decision?
Well, you're back to the warmth of the park you're in now, because you've got the water.
Right.
In front
That
of it.
water separating now.
You're starting to see more detail of the bridge and stuff. Like, now it's hard to know what the subject is. Is it the sign, or is it the details of the bridge? Is it like this stuff? You start losing what is the subject at this.
Right.
So Scott, if you wanted to make that background out of focus.
Yes,
what would you do?
super easy. I would go from F18, F14, whatever it is, I'd go to 2.8. That background is gone.
But what would be if you're doing video, what would be the problem with getting that shot?
It's going to be super bright. You're opening up your aperture, and it's like, wow, look at all this light coming in. So what do you need?
You need sunglasses.
Yes.
Just like we would.
Or a variable neutral density filter,
Mhm.
so that you can darken the whole image, and so you can change your aperture to whatever you want. You open up the aperture, letting a lot more light in, and you know, I just kept all the settings exactly the same, just for example.
Yeah, so like I have a variable ND filter, and like, as if you see, you just simply turn it and it gets brighter or darker.
And that's what, 10 stops? How many stops is that?
So like if I hold it in front of here, let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, you just dial it in to whatever you want. Gosh.
You know?
And it
So-
won't change the color, it won't shift the color. You
It
get a good
shouldn't.
thing.
So, like if you get a really cheap one, maybe it will a little bit, but it shouldn't.
All right. So for me, after going through all my lenses, all right, what did I want to convey? This was my final image here. I like the way the Cleveland was in the background, you know, the city of Cleveland, the Cleveland sign.
But you have the bench, you still have the beach.
Right. Yeah.
You have a
So-
little
so-
bit of everything.
Right, it's a little bit apart. So this was my creativeness. I have the choice, you know, I control everything. This is how I wanted to portray that image.
And look, you know, we got so much. We have the stadium, we have the nice city skyline, we have the beach, we have the water, we have the trees, we have a bench. Like, we really feel there's a story here.
Ironically, you're bookmarking the entire skyline of Cleveland,
Right.
from the
Yep.
end of Cleveland to the end of Cleveland. So
Yes.
you're going from one to the other, right?
Well, look at this. You got this
Yeah,
looks like train's building something.
yeah, and the bank building there, the key building right at the L is
You're gonna have
is
to
really
go back
nice.
and redo these, man. The skyline has changed.
I know. It always, yeah, we got, whatever, the Sherwin-Williams is in there now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a portrait. Using different lenses for portraits. Here's this beautiful girl I did this portrait of her. She wanted to kick my butt. Because that's not what she looks like. This is with a 24 millimeter lens. I was like in her face. And she was like, holy crap, what are you doing?
Like how close? Like how close?
I'm like here. I'm like about here. I'm like 2 feet away from her face.
Now, just as a director, being this close, that's a problem because as an actor, they have to pretend that you're not there. If you're up in someone's face, how do they, as an actor, pretend that you're not there? Pretend to ignore you? It's very hard.
Right.
This is not a good focal length or lens, to give to your actors. It's not going to help their performance.
So everything's the same. The only thing I did was I changed to a 100 millimeter lens. That is the same girl, same time, same lighting, same background, nothing. She did not move.
But go back to the other one. I'm going to ask the question, what is the subject of this picture? Is it a girl? Is it how long her hair is? Is it a bookshelf? Is it DVDs? Like, what is the subject in this? You know, is it her necklace? Like, what is the subject? Now we go to the next one. What is the subject? It's her.
Right.
It's her. Like,
So-
there's not a
Really?
debate, there's not a conversation. She is the subject.
Right. And her nose, I mean, look at her nose in this one. It's her forehead, giant chin. It's like, that's not
But
what
it's
she
just-
looks like. She doesn't look like that at all.
But as a storyteller, you have to decide at each shot, whether it's photography or video, what is your subject and how do I convey it best to the audience?
So what do we got? So what you have to do is, we were talking about neutral density filters and all that, because you have to understand what the exposure triangle is. It's the combination of your shutter speed, your ISO, and your aperture, and how each of them affect everything that you do. And you have to balance them with everything. It's so important to me that here's my business card. On the back of it is a reference to the exposure triangle. So when I teach photography, I give this to all my students and said, yep, you want to get a hold of me? That's how you get a hold of me. You can't remember what an f-stop does. You can't remember what your aperture, your shutter speed. Here it is. Here's a reference guide, and every one of you can have that.
Now, for photography, you have 3 points, okay? When really you have a 4th one, which is ND, but let's pretend that doesn't exist for the moment. The problem with doing film in the exposure triangle is it's a lie. You don't really have a triangle. Because your shutter speed is a standard value of 150 if you're doing 24 frames per second, or 180th degree if you're doing shutter angle. So shutter speed, you don't have this to control your brightness. And like, so if you were in a really bright situation with your shutter speed, you know, you could bring your shutter speed up to 1/1000th, and now you can handle bright light. Or if it's really, really dark outside, you could bring it to 2-second exposure.
If you have a tripod.
But if you're doing video, you're stuck. You can't do this one. So now you're only stuck with ISO and aperture, and here's the prism. ISO, if it's really bright outside, you want to be at the fastest ISO. So let's say it's 100 ISO.
You're native.
So now,
Whatever's
as you
native,
get your
you're
native.
native.
So now, we can't change this, we can't change this. So aperture, yes, we can make it f14. And that'll bring it down, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe you're in the desert, and a beautiful blue sky, if there's a beautiful blue sky in the desert.
Yes, of course. Oh,
Anyway, so what can you do if this is the only thing you could do? Let's say you get it to f14, let's say you have good exposure, but now everything is in focus. Is that what you want to tell? Do you want to tell the background is a subject and the foreground is a subject? How do we make the subject isolation happen where the background is maybe blurry or a little bit blurry to control your subject?
A neutral density filter.
Sunglasses! Just like we need sunglasses in the bright, a camera needs it. Get an ND filter, because now it allows you to choose what your aperture is.
All right, you get one of those.
Boom, I caught
Share
it.
it. Raise your hand if you want one. There you go. Oh, Scott, come on.
You used the wrong ND filter, Scott.
That's
I did!
All right, so we have
I
exposure
could have
time.
leaped forward, but I didn't want to hurt the wall.
Yeah, I did, right, you didn't want to do that dive.
Everything that I film, everything,
There you go.
I think about this. Like, as he said, it's on his business card. As a filmmaker, as a DP, you should be thinking about this all the time.
So here's the difference between, you know, when you talk about your aperture. What does that mean? That's the amount of light that your lens is letting in. So the lower number, like a 1.8, actually lets in more light. The lower number, because it's a fraction, it's 1 over
So-
1.8.
Let's look at this 1.8. Has anyone ever had their eyes dilated? Right? What does your iris look like?
Yeah.
You know, it's up there, right? And then how do you deal with like bright light with your eyes totally dilated? You have a hard time, don't you? And what do they send you out with? Sunglasses. All right. So if you want to get the look with a big iris, you gotta wear sunglasses in the sun. It just helps you think about it. Versus if you're in the desert, if you have a pinhole, you're gonna have an easier time seeing in the desert, right?
Yeah. Also, when you go to the eye doctor, you know, and you put that thing up in front of your eye.
Right.
They say, what is that thing? And then I can't read that line, and then they move that little thing with those
Yep.
little dots over. You ever seen that? There's a little thing with
Yeah.
dots, and all of a sudden, wow, I could read it. That's because you move to a lower aperture or a bigger number. All of a sudden, things become in focus.
Yeah.
It's the exact same. That's, you know, how optics work. It's very strange.
Well, and like, to be fair, can you go back one more time?
Yeah.
So, F22, what is another benefit besides like blur and see and focus? What is your range of focus with F22 versus F1.8?
Yeah.
You know, so F1.8, it's a very narrow focus. Like, you know, like that's why you're squinting in the dark. You're squinting to see things because our focus is very narrow and our cameras is really narrow.
Let me show you an example of that. So, anybody recognize this? It's worth the Frisbee. Come on. It's actually a screen-used movie prop from a TV show from
The
the
Avengers?
60s.
The Avengers?
Older.
Older.
Barnabas Collins.
Okay.
Oh, back Nixon?
I could see it, I just couldn't think of the name.
Dark Shadows, here you go.
Oh.
You get two.
See, he's added it too.
My brother bought this for me. It is actually a screen use. This is from the TV series Dark Shadows from the 60s. I hurt my foot and I was walking with a cane, and so he bought me this really cool cane.
That's
Uh,
Oh, cool.
So anyway, so when you're shooting at 2.8, if you're looking at this, you can see the ears are in focus, the nose, the tip of the nose, background totally out. All right, so I go to 5.6. All of a sudden, even the background changes. All right, see how it's like totally gray? Now it's gray texture. And now you can see more. More is in focus. If I go to F8, look at that, even more is in focus. You can see the rim on the bottom, the background is in focus.
You're starting to
the
see
tone.
more texture there.
Yeah, so you're showing more texture.
So this is the stop, you're changing the stop, right?
Yeah, the f stop.
The F
Yes.
stop, the F stop from
The
You
dials.
haven't changed,
Anything
you haven't
else?
moved the camera, you haven't
Nothing.
changed
No,
the
there's
lighting.
not
So
moving at all.
This is just
his
stopping it
eye
down.
started with dilated, like you like go into the
Yeah,
place
yeah.
to get your eye dilated.
Right.
It started with full dilation. Now he's stopping it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now it's more of a pinhole.
Right. So you get more in focus. And also we were talking about what is in focus. I wanted only the middle. So that's like a Venetian
Look at
line. So I wanted only one part in focus. I wanted that strip in the middle. So before it and after it is out of focus.
So when we're directing actors, you know, like okay, you know, we're in a really dark room. I need you to control your movements. You know, and we'll tell them, you know, you can move side to side, but don't do this.
Don't go forward or back.
Because you see the problem. Like if they move from here to here, I have no focus. So that's why when we're shooting in the dark, we have our eyes dilated on our cameras. This is the problem we're going to face. It's going to look beautiful, but it's going to be challenging.
Unless they lean forward or lean backward. And we're only talking 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah,
where-
inches.
Where you're in focus or out. So if you shoot at F8, everything is in focus.
Yes.
But we can't always shoot at F8.
But like if you look at this, like yes, we see the whole thing, but go back. I find this to be such a more interesting
Yes,
composition
absolutely.
shot. It's the same composition, the same framing, but it's so much more interesting. You know?
Well, it's directing your focus, it's making the
It's-
audience focus on.
You're choosing the subject
Right.
instead of letting the audience decide what subject.
Right. If everything's in focus, you're gonna look around and go, what are you talking about?
What's the subject?
But if there's one thing in the middle or a little off to the side, that's it. So shutter speed, this is more for photography. So when, you know, you do shutter speed at like 1,000th of a second, 100th of a second, 2 seconds, it totally changes the look from that to cotton candy. And then you reposition and you get that. So with me as a photographer, I look at something like this. This
Look at
is
the
the
drops. You see the drops.
Right.
Yeah.
Individual drops of water.
So this is a place called Triple Falls in Montana, one of my favorite places in the world. But that's not how I see it. Here, I hear loud, I hear angry, powerful. That's not what I see when I'm sitting there. I see this, which is exactly the same shot, but yet Now it's peaceful. You have, cotton candy flowing over these canyons. I hear the birds chirping. It totally changes the whole mood and feeling. This is for me. So, and this is what I saw. That's how I felt. So, I'm a photographer. That's how I portrayed this image.
But this is important because like when we film, why does shutter speed matter? We talk about why does shutter speed matter? Because when we see an action movie, like fists are flying a mile a minute. Go back to the other one. We want to see all those little details. And when you see a lot of action movies, they're kind of jittery and like, because one, it creates an emotion of just like uncalm, unrest. And you see every moment, you see like the hit, you see like the blood fly, the little drips of blood flying out, because you want to see that. But then we go to the other one, we see like, like maybe a tender emotional scene where like someone is like dealing with the death of someone that they care about. This is smoother, it's softer. It conveys an emotion of softness, of calm.
Right.
And so often this is ideal for most scenes.
That quiet piano music in the back.
Right.
All right. That's me. Everybody give me a hand. Yeah. All right. Scott, you brought a camera, didn't you?
I didn't see, look, how are we doing? So, I'm going to be super fast because we don't have a tremendous amount of time. I'm just going to show people like how I do things. So one, I have a tripod that goes up fast and it goes down fast. For me, this is a huge benefit of having a good tripod because most dialogue scenes you're going to do in a film, they're not moving, there's just two people talking. Why do I need to hold a camera like this for, maybe 5 takes, and then after I'm done, I'm like, holy God, what am I doing here? So, here is my camera. So, I'm a home brewer also. One of the rules we have as home brewers is, if you make it easy, you'll want to do it. So, like, all my stuff is meant to, like change quick. So now I have a tripod, I'm ready. So let's say now we're doing like an action scene. So this is a GH7, which is a really good camera for stabilization. So, so now I can just have this. So I just went from having a tripod setup to a fairly steady handheld because this has image stabilization. And I'm not talking about lensing or aperture or anything like that, but like at least for my blocking and shot, now I can choose what I'm gonna get. Now, like he said, I'm gonna be more stable if I'm wider, but that's ugly. So like, I'm probably gonna choose to be as far as I can, and I'm probably gonna be this distance from him. He's very pretty, he's handsome Scott. So, because of that, I'm going to have to make my movements maybe slower because I'm going to be more jittery. Versus if I'm up close, I mean, you're not going to see any jitters, especially with the wide angle lens. So much how we do things and how we want to tell stories is about how nimble can we be. Because we're going to get exhausted after a long day of shooting. If we can use things like a tripod to help us, if we can use a quality tripod that changes, maybe angle from eye level to maybe looking up to looking down quickly, that's going to help us be nimble. Being able to go from tripod quickly to another, because now, let's say, like, man, we're an hour over, the guy's telling us to get out. Just take the camera off the tripod, like have a simple neck strap, and then just, okay, let's do it, go. It's that, like, I've been in situations so many times where I'm getting kicked out, and I'm like, I just need 5 minutes. I did like 3 minutes of content for my movie in a matter of 5 minutes. Because I was like, heck with the tripod, let's just go handheld. But like handheld doesn't mean that you can't give yourself a little bit of an edge. This is like a $10 strap. No reason why you can't just think out the box and make yourself not look cool. I'm a tourist, but I'm getting my shot. Let's see here. mics.
Any
So-
questions?
Yeah.
There we go, go back.
We're from Dallas, and I am a psychology professor, so I teach the social psychology of horror, so that's why I'm here. But when you mentioned audition tapes, I have a question because I
Sure.
make little lecture tapes.
Excellent.
And how do you address the challenges for people who wear glasses, where the glasses cast the shadow on my face, and also, you know, a ring light or an LED panel, you can see the reflection in that. So I have box lights, but I
Okay,
don't
sure.
have
So
that
one on
China
either
ball.
side, one on either side?
Yeah, I have two, and well, I have two, so I kind of play around with where I want them.
Right.
Because also then the above light, when I'm taping, will cast down shadows. So I
Correct.
like the China ball, but
So
yeah,
what-
glasses.
What I usually tell people is, don't be, we were talking earlier about shadows and how to avoid them. Go away from the wall. So when I do portraits, I am 10 feet away from my backdrop because I don't want any shadows. Also, the lights are eye level plus a little bit. That way you won't have any glare in your glasses because it's above your glasses. Now, some glasses you will absolutely have glare no matter what you do because they're very concave, they're very rounded, so it picks up everything. It'll see your windows, it'll see, you know, absolutely everything. Get fake glasses. If you're going to do a lot of these, get fake glasses, pop the lenses out. You'll look the same, and you don't have to worry. That would be another trick.
So I think a trick I always tell people, and this is not just those kind of videos, it's any time. If you walk into the room and you're trying to be nimble, you can set up all these lights, but I would tell you, find the brightest light and aim your actors at it. And then, with the gap, you say, okay, how do we enhance it? How do we give it a little bit more? But if you're doing like a simple video, you know, don't focus on getting a good light. Do it during the day. We have a really great one called the sun. Just be near a window, have the camera kind of be, you know, up against the window, and then just face the window. And then you have one of the best lights in the world.
Right.
You know, like,
It's
don't
the brightest,
overthink
too.
it.
Yeah, that's the best.
Does that help you?
Yes, yes, it does.
Next. Who else has questions?
All right, another real quick thing.
All right, we have 10
So,
more minutes.
so audio. So we do horror movies here. So horror movies go from I'm so scared, so scared. You know, so how do we deal with audio on an indie level, going from people muttering and whispering to screaming like bloody murder, like they got their leg caught in the bear trap? We're in a great time for audio equipment. Like, so I have like 3 different kinds of audio recorders. One is a lavalier. Just put a lavalier on. This recorder is, you don't need to have an audio technician with headphones. This is a recorder in itself. And this uses a technology called 32-bit float.
Yes.
And normally you don't care about numbers like that, like what is this 32-bit float stuff? What's great about it is, it at any given time is recording the sound of the whisper and the sound of an engine at full afterburn. Like, process that. So you don't have to worry about clipping, you don't have to worry about maybe your audio just being too hot, and you don't have to worry about maybe your audio just being like way too quiet. Because what you do is, when you go to edit, you can fix it all. So when I shoot, I'll have one recorder on them. I'll have another recorder on my camera. This is just recording sound. This is also a 32-bit recorder. And then 3, I leave my camera's audio alone. This camera has 2 microphones that are great, and I'm just gonna leave them be, because now I have 1, 2, 3, just for one person. And now if I have multiple people, I'll have 1, 2, 3, however many actors. And if those actors are close to each other, I might be using one of the other actors' lavaliers to pick up the audio of the other person. So, you know, so much of this is, like with audio, have too much. Have too much, because when you're editing in post, having too much is never going to be a problem. Delete is the easiest thing in the world. But going into post and saying, I don't have a good audio, I don't have any good audio, then you're trying to do ADR, and then you're trying to say, okay, say it like this, and they just don't. And then trying to get the reverb and tone right of the scene. it's just never gonna be great. It's never gonna be great.
So Scott, now you have 3, 4, 5 audio sources. How do you synchronize all those
That's
things
great.
together?
That's a great question. So like, you know, I have all these audio recordings like that. Like you have to do all that manual because you're gonna shoot and then cut and then shoot and then cut and then shoot. Use a program. Like there's a great one called Syncality. It's like $100, $100. And what's great about it is you put all of your stuff in a timeline. You know, like track 1 is your video, track 2 is another audio, track 3 is another audio, track 4. You can have 20 tracks, 50 tracks. Then you export that as an XML, and then import that XML in Syncalia, hit sync. Within, like, I do 48-hour films, which are 7-minute films. I'm able to sync all my audio from the day with spending just dumping it in, syncing it in 3 minutes.
Wow.
So now my workflow is working from a timeline with all the footage synced. So I'm not, you know, pulling clips, like it's all synced, but I don't do clap tracks. I don't do scene 8, take 50. I don't do any of that stuff, like, because I don't need to. Now often I'll make jokes if we're doing scenes that are very specific. Sometimes I'll say my actions different just because I want to make sure that each one has some unique sounds. Now often when I'm using this, I'll have this on my camera recording, I'll just leave it running. I'll leave it running for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. And I don't turn it off and on and off and on. I don't care, because when I'm editing, I'll have this long audio track that goes across my timeline. And now see video, 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 video here. And yeah, I throw that away. But it's deleting is the easiest thing in the world. You just hit delete. You just chop it up and delete. And then you have this audio track that you don't have to worry about, did I record? Did my new guy that's never used a microphone aim it right and record right? I never have to worry about it. And if he did get it, then I have great audio. If he didn't, I have this. If I don't have that audio mixer on set, I use these. This is my audio mixer. Problem with these is you don't know if they turned off. So in between shots, all right, everyone, you still recording? Yes.
You always want to look for that green light. Green light.
The solution to that is the Rode Mic Pros. These are great because they do the same thing as that, a 32-bit recorder, but it has a transmitter. Now, like I said, I'm going to record my camera microphones, but just having it on my camera, I can look at it, yep, they're still recording. Yep, they're still powered on. Yep, that's the battery life. I can just, with a quick look, know how much battery I have in my recorders. And like, how many times have I had like sound people on my sets in the last 2 years?
3.
You know, generally, I'm the one who does all the audio, and I'm the director and cinematographer.
Oh, wow.
So one key thing is that he's talking about, he is also the editor. So if you're shooting and giving it to somebody else, they have no clue what all these scenes are.
Right.
So then you need that
That's true.
blackboard to say, you know.
As a director.
Right, right, as a director, because then you're giving this to someone who was not on the set all day, watching everything.
Right.
They need to know what scene this is and where they are within,
Right.
in the whole story to put it on a timeline in order to edit it.
Because you're gonna, as a director, you would say, you know, hey, scene 8, take 49, that's my favorite. You know, like, but I think we had a really good beginning of that, like, you know, scene 8, you know, take 3. So like maybe take the beginning from scene 3 and the rest from scene 49.
And then we get a script supervisor.
Yeah.
They have the script right there, and when they have it, you know, they mark down all the takes, and then say, oh, number 3, good. They put 3 there, so that when the editor gets it, who is someone who is different, they will look at that and go, okay, let me pull scene 3. Let me pull all these clips, put it on the timeline.
And that's a good reason to have a clapboard.
Right.
It's not, like, it used to be really for syncing. You know, it was a very important thing to sync your audio to your video. Now, I think really the value of a clapboard is if you have an editor that's not you, you can communicate with him because he can pause at the beginning of this one. Okay, this is scene 3. You know, take 4. You know, he can just look at the first clip of it and know, right. Okay, this is what he was talking about.
Right, scrub through it. I don't know.
Yep.
Questions? We're just about done here. Yes.
What is your thoughts on timecode clapboards? I upgraded to the deity timecode generators, and I love them. I can't justify the $1,000 for the clapboard.
I just don't.
I want to, I just can't justify it.
I don't, especially with how good Sync Alia is, I just don't see value in it. I don't. I don't see value in it for anyone that's trying to use that to sync. Because if you have a clapboard that is doing timecode, that means you probably have timecode generators in your cameras or your
Right.
audio.
Yeah.
Well, like these Rode Wireless Pro, you can do timecode. They're kind of like a poor man's timecode generator.
Okay.
Why? Because like when we're doing proper dialogue, we have good waveforms that are globally unique variables, and then like you're gonna put in Syncalia, like 99% of the time, it's perfect. It's just perfect. So the only time like maybe it's a little funny is if you have an hour of video and then an hour thing, maybe there's drip, maybe one loses a couple frames in an hour.
Yeah.
Then time code is really helpful because you're able to see not only beginning time code, but end time code, and then fix it. But that only really matters if you're doing long form video. Like, if we're doing like indie films, like your longest take is gonna be what, 5 minutes, if that?
Yeah.
Right.
So like, you're not gonna have any kind of significant drift in 5 minutes. Now, in an hour, 2 hours, you're probably gonna have drift between cameras. Probably. You're probably gonna have drift. You're not gonna have it in 5 minutes.
All right, one more question, then we gotta
I finally
go.
found it. I'm sorry, I
Anybody?
couldn't find Syncalia.
All right, who
It's
wants a
awesome.
frisbee?
It's awesome.
Raise your hand if you want a frisbee, catch.
Almost.
Ooh,
So close.
I'm gonna run this back. I don't wanna hit the camera. All right, you ready? There you go, who else?
I could use another
Who else is
one.
going? There you go,
I
another
got a
one.
new puppy.
All right,
That's right.
here we go.
Dog, exactly.
I'll take
That
it.
was just
There you go.
Serious.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? We're around all day. Just feel free to ask us, and we're going to help you.